You can present all the data you want, but I want to know how you're going to sustain 7 million people moving forward in terms of water and food and everything, and global warming and sea level rise. All right? That's what I want to know from you as an economist. Don't give me all the data and all of this. I want to hear an analysis that's interdisciplinary and that's real. That's real. Okay, any other questions, please?
Yes. You said you did social sciences or political sciences. How is the connection with security analysis?
National security?
Yes.
Well, I've done a lot of international security analysis on, say, global warming, climate change, where we study, we do the projections, we do the modeling, we look at each country, each region, we look what might happen given this temperature rise or this temperature rise, and then we have to, this is interdisciplinary analysis. Okay, you look at the data, and modeling is very difficult. You can't really project much more than 5 or 10 years out, when you're doing international politics. Because the political component it's so iffy, and how do you quantify that? But if you start looking at global warming, and you say, okay, 1.8% centigrade degree rise over the next 50 years, whatever, you look at the impact on food production, you look at the impact on the ecological system, you look at the impact on an economy. If you're a country that's like Russia, your bread basket's down here, the Ukraine, and that's another reason Russia wants Ukraine, because it produces all of this food that used to feed the Soviet Union. But all the food's grown down here. Okay, so how's global warming going to affect Russian food production in 50 years? Is it going to increase? Is it going to decrease? Is that a national security issue? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In the United States, what's going to happen to the Southwest United States, which is already running out of water? What's global warming going to do? That's a national security issue because it affects the economy, it affects the political system. So that's just one example. I can give you specific examples. You look at the United States Navy, 500 ships, and we have port facilities up and down the east and west coast and all over the world. Well, sea level rise is already causing problems for the U.S. Navy. We're having to rebuild facilities and build them off higher up and in different places because of sea level rise. If the Bahamas goes underwater, which is 60 miles off the coast of the United States because of sea level rise, what's going to happen to all the people there in the Bahamas? People are already leaving islands in the Pacific and here and there. You're going to have this massive refugee flow, a massive refugee flow. Is that a national security issue? Absolutely. So you can look at environmental issues and how they affect national security. And that's a huge area. That's a huge area of study. But that's one that I've had a lot of experience with, and I very much enjoy. Did that help answer your question?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes. So the other one, why do presenters, why do they feel nervous?
Help me out again.
Why do people feel nervous before presentation or when they're supposed to be presenting? Why do they feel nervous?
Why?
Yeah. You say, why do you feel nervous?
A novice.
When you're about to present.
Okay, what about being a novice? You're a novice?
Say why.
Why?
Why do presenters, why some people feel nervous when they are to present in public?
Are you? You won't be a novice if you practice in front of the mirror and do that 1,000 times the day before, and then you're not a novice. People, look in the mirror and just practice speaking, and watch yourself, watch your expressions, watch how you speak, and take notes. Take notes of yourself. Okay. Some people just aren't good at public speaking and probably never will be very, very good. How many very smart people do you know, you've seen them on TV, academics, government officials, they know a whole heck of a lot, but they're just not very good at public speaking. They're just not good at it. It's your personality. You either have a certain personality or you don't. I like to talk, as you probably have already noticed. I enjoy it. Gosh, I just love it.
Yeah, I think also like in presentation, sometimes also like, as you said, preparedness is very important, and also knowing what you are saying.
You have to
because
be...
if you have little idea or limited idea of what you are going to present, it also makes you nervous.
Yeah. Well,
but
okay.
if you actually have the clue or you have a better understanding
Yeah.
of what you are presenting?
When I said preparation, that means having your content down, your visual slides done in a way that are not too complicated. They get the point across. I've gone to lectures where they're putting up all these slides and making all these visuals. No, you just keep it simple. People can understand. And you have your speech ready, and you have it practiced, and you know your subject matter. Yeah, you can't get away without knowing your subject matter. You're not going to get away with it. Not if the audience knows it as good as you do. Which is what when I speak to an audience in Washington or wherever, these are people that know probably more about it than I do. And they're there ready to raise their hand and call me out. That's a presentation. That's a presentation. But preparation and knowing your subject matter, I can't give a 2-hour lecture without notes if I don't know my subject matter. I could talk about foreign policy all day long without looking at my notes. I don't need notes. I can tell you about the war in Ukraine from the beginning, every day, every week, every month. I don't need notes. But if you don't know it inherently, you have it written down. And there's nothing wrong with looking at your notes and looking down and keeping yourself paced and on cue. You don't want to get lost. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Everybody has a speech in front of them. Trump's giving a speech today. He's got it written down. Man cannot even speak. He's president of the United States. He's a complete idiot. So anyway, sorry about that.
Sorry. I don't want to ask you any political question.
No, that's fine.
What is your perspective on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Which war?
Ukraine-Russia.
The Ukraine war is the largest war in Europe since World War II. When I talk about war, whether it's the India-Pakistani flare-up, or it's the war in Myanmar, or it's the war in Gaza, or it's the war in Ukraine, or it's the war in Syria, or it's the war in Sudan. There are many wars occurring all the time throughout history. The war in Ukraine is a big one, though. I mean, that's a big war. You might not be interested in it, and I don't want to get into, I'm pro-Ukraine. I'm a Russian analyst. I know Russia. I know Russia. And what they've been doing there for 3 years, I don't know how anybody can deny it. It's absolutely terrible. And Ukraine needs to be supported. But that's a big, wherever you are on that, you cannot ignore it. You cannot say, oh, that's a European war, or that's the West's problem, and we don't have a million people here. I mean, that's the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. I mean, fertility rates are high in Africa, exponential population growth. How is everybody going? We got to add another, 3 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion people in 30 years. Most of it in the global south. That's a huge challenge. In that asymmetric demographics, the West is having fewer babies, the global south is exponential population growth, and everybody wants to get the heck out and go to the West and go north. That's creating huge political problems. That's how Trump got elected. That's what's going on in Europe. There's a backlash. There's this backlash occurring, and that's driving politics. And it's not a very pretty politics. It's becoming quite ugly and quite cruel. We've got to manage that somehow. But adding 2 or 3 billion people, that's not going to be easy, and avoiding the political fallout from that. And then sustaining the environment under that exponential population growth. I mean, that's your job, isn't it? I would think. Making sure there's enough food, protecting the forest, protecting the water supply, dealing with sea level rise. I have a good friend, he owns a bunch of hotels here, Molly Sala, you might know him. How many know Molly? Molly Sala. Yeah, and I was talking to Molly last time. I said, hey Molly, what are you doing about sea level rise? I said, Molly, in 50 years the water's going to be in your restaurant. What are you going to do? Are the tourists going to keep coming? I mean, we can argue about sea level rise and where it's going to be in 50, 60, 70, 100 years. You can do some modeling and projection, but it's a problem, isn't it? And it's becoming acute. This is not my subject matter, but I'm familiar with it. I can read this and make sense out of it. I know what you're doing, what you're trying to do.
Yeah, you have to follow each one of this presentation.
Oh, and then I'm going to critique everybody. But just, I live here in Gambia. I'm here for a while. I've been here 3 years full time. I've been coming for 30 years. I might stay. I'm single. I don't own a house, a car. I don't own any jewelry anymore. I'm what's called a minimalist. I'm a minimalist. I gave up all my worldly possessions in America and came here. And I'm free as a bird. I'm free as a bird. I can get on a plane at the airport tomorrow and go anywhere in the world.
They got this spot for sure.
Huh?
They got that you're free as a bird.
But the point of that is, it's enjoyable. It's taken me a while to get here. It's taken me a lot of work to get here and to find my way in life and realize that the only thing that really matters is the environment and democracy and doing what I want to do. And I'm finally at a point in life where I can kind of do whatever I want to do, go wherever I want to go. And so, again, it's about enjoying. It's about enjoying what you're doing. And the presentation shouldn't be scary. It should be fun. Okay? Any other questions before I sit down in the back and eat breakfast and watch you guys do your presentations? Because I'm going to be raising my hand asking you questions, right?
You're not supposed to at the end of the presentation.
But that research methodology that you're using, that data point, I'm not quite sure. No, I'm not going to ask any questions, believe me. I'll probably try to keep my eyes open. I didn't get much sleep last night. I'm very tired. I was out with this fella having ice cream at midnight, and then I got back to my apartment. So I sit outside at night with the security boys drinking tire, you know, and talking about stuff. Yeah, tire. They drink a lot of that. I have a boy, his name's Bakri Sanyang. Does anybody know Bakri Sanyang? The Sanyang family. They live behind the village. Their compound's behind the village. JJ Ansunama, he's the restaurant manager at Tamala. The Sanyang family's my family. I go there every day for lunch when I can. You know, I was there every night during Tabaski. That's my Gambian family. And so Bakri Sanyang, he's 37. I think he actually worked at agriculture when he was younger, maybe. Yeah. You knew him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another place, ITC.
Yes, right. But he helps me with my work, and kind of takes care of me. He's kind of my guy, you know.
Yeah, he was with my dad.
Yeah. Bakri's a very good guy. He's one of the best Gambians I know.